What do you do when the thing you've been praying for, fighting for, sacrificing for doesn't happen? What do you do when God says no? Because let me tell you something, everybody loves the testimony when God says yes. Everybody loves the blessing when the doors swing wide open. But the real test of faith is when he shuts the door and you don't understand why. See, I'm talking to somebody right now, you've been carrying disappointment, confusion, heartbreak. You've been asking, why me? Why now? Why like this? And I came to tell you tonight, sometimes God's greatest blessings come wrapped up in the very thing we thought was a tragedy. Because it's easy to praise him when life is going your way. It's easy to smile when the bank account looks good, when the doctor gives you a clean bill of health, when the relationships are strong. But what about when the bottom falls out? What about when the dream shatters? What about when the thing you thought was your purpose is taken away in a single moment? That's the real test. That's where faith isn't just a word, it becomes your oxygen. I'll never forget September 9th, 2006, Neyland Stadium, Tennessee versus Air Force. I was a 20-year-old kid living my dream. And understand, football for me wasn't just about the game. Wasn't just about wins and losses, touchdowns and trophies. Football was my lifeline. It was my chance to lift my family out of the struggle. It was my opportunity to rewrite our story. See, I grew up in a 2-bedroom house with 14 people, crack house right across the street, violence around the corner. The odds were stacked against me from the moment I took my first breath. And I thought, if I can just make it, if I can just get to the NFL, then everything changes. So every sprint, every weight lifted, every drop of sweat, it wasn't for me. It was for my mother who sacrificed everything. It was for my father who wasn't around, but whose absence fueled my fire. It was for my siblings who I wanted to show, you don't have to be a product of this environment, you can rise above it. That night I ran down on a routine tackle, it was something I had done 1,000 times before, but when I hit that guy, everything changed. My whole world shifted in an instant. I went from standing strong to laying on the ground, unable to move my right arm, unable to feel my fingers. And I'll never forget looking up at the stadium lights, hearing 100,000 people screaming and thinking to myself, something's not right. They rushed me to the hospital. I can still smell the antiseptic. I can still hear the machines beeping steady and cold. I can still see my mother's face, her tears falling, her lips trembling as the doctors came in. And then the doctor looked me in the eyes and said words that shattered me. Son, you will never play football again. You suffered nerve damage. Your right arm and hand will be paralyzed for the rest of your life. I can't explain to you the weight of those words. Everything I had worked for, everything I had prayed for, everything I had dreamed about, it was gone in one moment. I thought football was my way out. I thought football was my destiny. And in one hit, one play, 1 second, it was stripped away. I felt like my life was over. And I remember laying there in that hospital bed, tears rolling down my face, asking God, why me? Why now? I did everything right. I worked hard. I honored you. I tried to live the right way. Why would you take the very thing I love the most? And you know what I learned? Sometimes God's greatest act of love is when he tells us no. Because what I thought was a tragedy was really the setup for my triumph. I had a choice to make. See, pain will always present you with two options. You can surrender to it or you can let it sharpen you. And I made up my mind. I wasn't gonna let my injury define me. I was gonna let it refine me. I realized something lying in that hospital bed. Football was never my purpose. It was only my platform. My purpose was bigger than a game. My purpose was bigger than a scholarship. My purpose was to impact people, to inspire hope, to let the world know that your perspective is more powerful than your circumstances. I couldn't use my right arm anymore, but God still gave me my heart. God still gave me my mind. God still gave me my voice. And as long as I had breath in my body, I was going to use it to serve others. And see, some of you think the dream dying is the end of your story, but what if it's just the beginning? What if the thing you thought broke you was actually building you? What if the thing you thought disqualified you was actually qualifying you for the very thing you were created to do? My injury didn't stop my destiny. It redirected it. And I'm standing here today, not as a former football player, but as a man on a mission to encourage, to equip, and to empower people all over the world. Here's what my journey taught me, and I believe it can help somebody tonight. Number one, control what you can control. I couldn't control the fact that my arm was paralyzed, but I could control my attitude. I could control my effort. I could control how I showed up every day. And hear me, when life takes something from you, don't spend all your energy crying over what you lost. Focus on what you still have left, because what you focus on will magnify in your life. Number two, your character is more important than your circumstance. Everybody can smile when things are going well, but true character is revealed when the lights go out, when the crowd disappears, when the dream dies. That's when who you really are shows up. And I learned that if you can stay faithful in the dark, God will elevate you in the light. Number three, pain is a part of the process. I used to ask, why me? Now I ask, why not me? Because pain is the price of growth. Pain is the proof that you're stretching. And if you can endure the process, the promise is always greater than the pain. So let me ask you tonight, what's your response going to be when life hits you? When the dream doesn't work out? When the plan falls apart? When God says no? Because you don't get to choose the cards you're dealt, but you do get to choose how you play them. And sometimes the greatest power you can have is the power to keep showing up. And every morning I wake up, I strap this brace on my arm, and I look in the mirror and I remind myself, I may have lost football, but I did not lose life. I did not lose purpose. I did not lose faith. And as long as I'm breathing, I'm going to keep climbing with courage. So if you're listening to me right now, don't you dare quit. Don't you dare fold. Don't you dare let life break you. Take your pain, take your disappointment, take your setback, and turn it into your strength, because the very thing that tried to destroy you will be the very thing that develops you. And when you get to the top of your mountain, when you finally see the view, you look back and realize it wasn't the success that made you, it was the struggle. It was the climb. And the whole way up, you were never alone.